A couple once lived together in a two-bedroom apartment in the outskirts of Lagos. Tade and his wife, Agnes, were Christians. They attend a Bible-believing church. Tade works as an accountant in a reputable company and is also an assistant pastor in their church. Agnes, on the other hand, works in one of the private schools around their neighborhood. She closes early and comes home to look after the children and prepare food for them. She also worked as an usher in the church. Tade and Agnes had two children who were twin girls. They all lived happily. They prayed and studied the word of God together. Tade came home one day and was welcomed by his wife and children. While eating dinner, he noticed that Agnes was distracted. She seems unhappy. "Dear, are you all right?" he asked. "I'm fine," she replied, not looking at her husband. They ate their food in silence. At night, when Tade woke up to use the restroom, he noticed again that Agnes wasn't really sleeping. She just tossed around the bed with eyes open. "Agnes, what is the problem? You are not sleeping. This is 3 a.m. in the morning," Tade asked. But Agnes insisted she was all right. She didn't know how to tell Tade her problems. For some time now, she had been having dreams where she sees herself prophesying and healing people. The dream had been coming constantly and it bothers her. Is God telling her to start a church? Should she tell their pastor of her dreams? Agnes brooded over this for many days. Sometimes at work, she loses concentration and makes mistakes with her pupil's books. One night, she dreamt and saw herself ministering to a large congregation. People with diverse problems came to her and she was able to know their problems by looking at them directly. The dream felt so real that when Agnes woke up, she convinced herself that she's a prophetess. That night, while they were retiring to bed, she decided to tell Tade. She narrated all her dreams. "I think God is calling me to the prophetic ministry. I want to start my own church." Tade was so surprised at his wife's words. "Dear, I know God is trying to pass a message and you may have a prophetic gift which is here to manifest. But starting a church is not the first thing. A church is not as easy as you all think. I'm an assistant pastor and I know what it means to run a church. You need to set time apart to pray and seek the face of God so you will know his mind. I will also pray along," Tade counseled his wife, holding her hands and smiling warmly at her. Agnes discussed with Amara, a colleague of hers who also attended a gospel church. Amara advised her to follow her dreams. "My dear, don't allow your husband to kill your star. Don't allow him make you bury your God-given gift. How does he expect you to manifest the gift if you don't start a church? Moreover, I think it is God calling you and you shouldn't allow your husband to hinder you. Besides, the world is full of problems and many are looking for prophets and prophetess to help them. Before you know it, your church will grow big and you'll be rolling in money. Even your husband will later bow to you," she concluded. Agnes resigned from her place of work without telling her husband. She would go around preaching after taking the children to school. She spent some time praying and watching videos of renowned prophets. Not long, her prophetic gifts began to manifest. She began to have pre-knowledge of people's life once she come across them. It happens many times when she goes out to preach on the street. Soon, people started trailing her to their apartment. That was when Tade knew his wife was no longer working. He tried to talk sense to her. "Agnes, you are going about this the wrong way. Why not let us see the pastor so he can be of assistance to you on this?" he pleaded. "No way. God has called me. For your information, I'm starting my own church. I will no longer attend your church." Agnes moved out of her matrimonial home the following week to start a church. She never cared about her husband or the children. Tade was left to look after himself and them. Agnes' church grew quickly. She sees people's problems and ministered to them. She prophesied and it come to pass. People received healing and deliverance. She wore white garments most of the time and held programs upon programs. She had support from church workers and members who had joined her church. Some are men, youth, but mostly women. Agnes never bothered about her family, even though Tade continued to pray for her. After some months, something tragic happened. One of the women in Agnes' church was to undergo CS, but Agnes prophesied that she will deliver like the Hebrew women. She prayed for her and told the woman's husband not to sign for CS. The woman was made to labor and eventually died without giving birth to the child. This did not go down well with her church members. They criticized her, calling her fake prophet. Agnes was so devastated. Most of the members she gathered by miracles left the church. She became lonely. She didn't understand what went wrong. Before the incident, she had noticed that she seemed not to have power again. She doesn't see things like before. Her prophecies no longer come to pass like before. Now the woman's husband is threatening to close down her church. Agnes remembered her family and cried bitterly. She regretted not listening to her husband. I should have been more patient, she thought. Agnes visited Amara once again, who advised her to return to her family. Just like that, after 2 years of not seeing them, she cried the more. The following Sunday, she called one of the men who still remained and handed over the church to him to manage. She returned to beg her husband and children. Tade forgave her because he had been praying for her. Her children were happy to see her. They hugged her happily. Tade prayed with her. He encouraged her to seek God's forgiveness for her overzealousness in using her gift. You see, sometimes God gives us some gifts to grow the church where we are worshiping, to serve as support for the pastor and his ministry, not necessarily to start a church. Also, the gift of God is not to replace our responsibility to our home and family. Agnes nodded in agreement. She had learnt her lessons. She submitted to her husband and went back to her former church. She was forgiven and accepted back. Tade, Agnes and their children became a happy family once again. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, share and comment your thoughts. Most importantly, please subscribe to my channel.